Hello everyone, welcome back to Discusseration Time. No, it's not. Alright, anyways, what are we talking about today? We're talking about Miraculous Ladybug, because that was a new thing that came out this past week, and I was really excited for it, and I thought it was going to be the full season, season 2. I'm not fully looking at the camera because I'm looking for my notes. I'm sorry. I'm unorganized. So I was really excited for season 2 of Miraculous Ladybug because I really liked season 1. I mean, really liked might be an overstatement, but I liked it. I enjoyed it. I very much enjoyed it. That part is true. And I was like, yo, it's gonna be all season 2, but then it's like, nah, it's only part 1. And I'm like, what? This is it? And I thought like maybe like they cut the season in half, but then I was like, yo, this is the season finale for season 2. This is weak. And then people on Twitter were telling me, nah, there's more episodes. And the guy who was telling me that they only released half of the season, you was right. Okay, I looked it up. You was right. It's supposed to have like 27 episodes, but they only put out 12. But regardless, I still got feelings and thoughts and opinions that I want to share with y'all. So we're going to talk about it. Mainly, I'm just going to talk about the differences between season 1 and season 2, because there are some big differences. It drastically improved, actually. Like, before, this was like kind of like a guilty pleasure of mine, where I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of embarrassed to tell people how much I like it. But now it's like I can be like, yo, but if you've seen season 2, it actually gets really good. Now, first difference you'll notice between season 1 and season 2 is despite the fact that there was always continuity in season 1, most of season 1's episodes just kind of felt like one-offs. It's like your average like kids show. It's just, you know, we're trying to get that backlog so we can rerun it. That's kind of how it felt. There was that monster of the week formatting, and in season 2 that still kind of exists. It's still kind of there, but it doesn't feel like they're relying on it as much, which is good. As far as the plot goes, it was definitely there in season 1, but they're definitely getting serious with it now. Season 1 really focused mainly on developing the main characters and their relationships. In season 2, you see more quality interactions with minor characters, some more world building, and a lot more plot-driven episodes. Well, I also really appreciate that they didn't really do too much in season 1. They had a lot more diverse interactions between Marinette and Adrian and their alter egos. Like, we saw a lot more of Ladybug and Adrian interacting, and Marinette and Cat Noir interacting. These relationships between the characters and their alter egos was more explored. For example, we saw Marinette and Cat Noir have a heart-to-heart conversation, and it was interesting to see, especially when it was Adrian and Ladybug. They were just kind of really flustered and there was a lot of tension there, which is like the closest thing that we see to the characters actually having, or at least expressing, their mutual feelings for each other, because they don't even know that they have mutual feelings for each other. And like, we've seen Cat Noir first and for Ladybug, we've seen Marinette first and for Adrian. We've seen that dynamic done to death at this point. And it's nice to see it, like, they still have something to keep it fresh, especially when I feel like they've only just scratched the surface of these dynamics. Like, we've only gotten a preview of what Marinette's relationship with Cat Noir could be, and the same goes for Adrian and Ladybug. And there's still so much more potential they can do with these relationships, and it's kind of admirable how, despite how kind of convoluted and weird the concept of the show is, to have two people who have secret identities and they love each other but they don't know it, as ridiculous and kind of stupid as it is as a concept on paper, it actually does add a lot of dimension to their characters. And it's a dimension that I personally cannot recall ever seeing in a story. I mean, my mind might be failing me right now, and I have seen it, but I can't recall. I'm still mad, though, that they really can't tell each other's secret identities. People were telling me in the comments last time that's the magic, that, like, the magic is, like, making it so they can't tell each other's identities, but I'm like, dog, that sounds like a cop-out. That's just, it sounds lazy. I don't buy it. I don't believe it. I'm not... Like, that's not good enough for me. You know, it's just ridiculous. I mean, I'm not complaining too much because, like, I understand, like, how much the dynamic actually adds to the show. And, like, part of the fun of watching the show is being frustrated that it's so obvious. But, you know, I mean, Adrian's dad is the worst with this. Because he really, like, he was zooming in. He was playing detective. He was zooming in on the picture of Adrian, zooming in on the picture of Cat Noir. And he's looking at the ring. He's looking at the shape of the ring on their finger. The ring doesn't even look the same when Cat Noir is out of costume. Like, it's just the shape of the ring. It's vaguely similar. Like, dude, that's the thing. Like, that's your son. You can't tell your son's face. Again, Static Shock. As soon as his dad got within 10 feet of him, He was like, "You think I don't know what my son looks like? This is absurd." Also in the comments of the last video, some of y'all were like, "Yo, it's so obvious who Hawkmoth is." And I was like, "Is it?" Like, I realized, like, I never thought about it. And I thought about it for like 2 seconds and I was like, "Oh yeah, that is really obvious." And I know I'm right because it was confirmed in season 2. I don't know, I just never really considered Hawkmoth's identity, just because I always saw him as like this villain hiding in the shadows, like he's just a random dude. And Hawkmoth is a different story from Cat Noir and Ladybug, because Cat Noir and Ladybug, like, this part of their face is colored and that's it. But Hawkmoth, he looks like a luchador wearing a suit. Like, that's a bit more, it's a bit more understandable in that scenario if you can't tell who he is. But yeah, no, there's a lot of context clues. It's, if you think about it for more than 2 seconds, you can figure it out. Speaking of Hawkmoth though, I really like how much development he has in season 2. He actually has like some motivation. Well, not, I don't think they ever specifically said what his motivation was, but I mean, I think it can be inferred what he is trying to do with the Miraculouses. And also, I didn't put this down, but I like how the villains actually get a lot closer to getting the Miraculouses in this season. Like, in the last season, it would be like, the formula would go through, and at some point, like in the middle of combat, Hawkmoth would just like tell them telepathically, like, get the Miraculous, and then they would just like flail in midair towards the general direction. But in this season, it was a lot more realistic, where you actually thought for a moment, oh, they might actually get a hold of the stuff. Like, it was a bit more believable in this season that it would actually happen, because they would actually get them in a position where they could actually do it. And there were a couple times where it actually came pretty close. Like, they actually almost lost their Miraculouses a couple times. I'm saying Miraculouses a lot. Like, that's a weird name to call the thing when you gotta call it, like, refer to it very often. I don't know. It's not that deep. Overall, this season, like, there were just little things in the season that I really appreciated. There was a lot less reuse animation. It was still there, but it didn't feel like as in your face. They had a bit more variety. I really liked how much they did with Hawkmoth's lair. Like, they showed different angles, different stuff was going on. Like, it used to always look like the exact same scene, just redubbed. But then this season, they actually kind of added a bit more variety to what's going on in there. And also, just like another little thing is, like, anytime Ladybug would use her Lucky Charm in season 1, whatever she got, she would be like, oh, whatever, what am I gonna do with this? And it's like, you would think after a while, her tone would change, like, oh, tire iron, what can I do with this? And I just like that she stopped saying that this season. Like, she just gets it and she's like, alright, what do I gotta do? Because that's more realistic. The 26 episodes straight of her being like, what am I gonna do with this? Kind of got old after a while. It's like, haven't you figured out yet what you're gonna do with it? I mean, this season Cat Noir says it a lot more, but like, that's a bit more understandable. Overall, season 2 is definitely an improvement from season 1. I definitely enjoyed it. It's definitely a step forward. What do you guys think? My name has been Tom, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching Let's Talk with Tom. I'm just playing, y'all. You know I gotta bring up the elephant in the room. So, this half of the season, or at least what's on Netflix, at episode 12, there's not a whole lot that actually happens pertaining to the plot, but what does happen is they introduce a new character, and they imply that Marinette has the feels for him, like she has the feels for Adrian. So really, they took this to just feed into shipping instead of actually doing some of the plot. And like, I think that's kind of lame. Like, you can do that and also like add something to the plot, but whatever. I'm still gonna talk about it because I'm gonna be honest, I have a connection to these characters. I mean, I feel like I'm like a parent to these characters. I feel like Steve Harrington at the end of season 2 of Stranger Things, where he's like, well, guess I'm these kids' parents now. I'm feeling like, yo, Marinette's going from like this nice guy who makes her happy and also has like a lot of like wealth behind him. He comes from a wealthy family. Like, they're gonna be fine financially if like they one day go off and get married. And like, he's a trustworthy, responsible person and all that. And then one day she just brings home this Luca character with blue hair and a guitar who reminds me of myself when I was younger and more idealistic about the world. And it's like, of course I'm not going to approve. I think that they knew this. I think they're doing this on purpose. I think the writers are trying to make us upset with this Luca character. I mean, I'm not the type of person who like is gonna say that they have to write a certain way. But like, they've been building up this ship, which it's like, it's not even a ship. It's the main plot point, main source of storytelling. And that's Marinette and Adrian. Like, that's the main point of the show. That's what all the narratives are built around. And then they're just like kind of threatening that by bringing in this new character. And let's be honest, based on this frame, people aren't going to ship Luca and Marinette. They're going to ship Luca and Adrian. Let's just be honest. If you're trying to bait the shippers, they're going to ship the gay ship, because that's how the internet works. If you give people a gay ship to ship, then that's what's going to happen. Regardless, if you haven't already, go watch my other Miraculous video. It should be right here. Maybe it'll be right there. Maybe down here. I don't know. Tell me in the comments below what you thought about Season 2, Part 1. If you've seen more, I don't know, refrain from spoilers, I guess. What do you think of Luca? What do you think of reuse animation? That's what the real discourse is about. It's about the reuse animation and how they cut back on it and how it's a big... It makes the show more enjoyable. That's all I got to say. Thank you for watching Let's Talk with Tom on the Roundtable, but Tom isn't just on the Roundtable. I have my own self-titled personal channel. I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, I have a Snapchat, I have all that good stuff. In fact, I even have a Tumblr. So, if you're interested in any of that, check that out, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!